Welcome to Revenge by Eve. Find a cozy spot and enjoy the journey of today's narrative.
I was standing in the maternity ward bathroom staring at a positive pregnancy test when my mother-in-law's voice came through the door telling my husband that marrying me was the biggest mistake of his life and she'd make sure I knew it. Before this story goes any further, tell me, would you have confronted her right then? Or done what I did? And as you listen, comment where you're listening from. I read everyone. My name is Eve Brennan. And 3 years ago, I married the love of my life in a small ceremony overlooking the Pacific Ocean. I met Marcus when I was 27, working as a veterinary technician at a clinic in San Diego. He came in with a rescue dog he'd just adopted, a nervous terrier mix that had been through rough times. The way Marcus spoke to that dog, patient and gentle, told me everything I needed to know about him. We started dating 2 weeks later. Marcus was a civil engineer, thoughtful and kind, the type of person who remembered small details about your day and actually listened when you spoke. He'd surprise me with my favourite coffee on difficult mornings, leave notes in my lunch bag, text me photos of dogs he saw during his workday, knowing it would make me smile. His family seemed wonderful at first. His father, Robert, was a retired high school principal. Quiet, warm, always ready with a story. His younger sister, Amy, was a teacher who welcomed me immediately, inviting me to girls' nights and treating me like the sister she'd never had. And then there was Patricia, Marcus's mother. Patricia was a former lawyer who'd built a successful career before retiring to focus on family and community. She was elegant, articulate, and always perfectly composed. She volunteered at the hospital, served on charity boards, hosted dinner parties that were talked about for weeks. When Marcus first introduced me to his parents, Patricia smiled and hugged me warmly. "How lovely to finally meet you. Marcus has told us so much about you." She asked about my work, seemed genuinely interested in animal care, complimented my dress. I left that evening feeling relieved and accepted. Marcus and I got engaged after 1.5 years. He proposed during a weekend camping trip. Nothing fancy, just the two of us and the stars and a simple ring that had belonged to his grandmother. "My mother gave me this to give to you," he said. "She said you're the daughter she always hoped I'd find." I cried happy tears and said yes. The wedding planning was where I should have seen the warning signs, but I was too in love to notice. Patricia wanted to help. "Let me take some of the stress off you," she'd say. "Planning a wedding is overwhelming and I have experience." She had opinions about everything, the venue, the flowers, the menu, my dress. When I'd suggest something, she'd nod and smile, then quietly push her own ideas. "That's lovely, dear, but have you considered this instead? It might photograph better. I love your vision, but from a practical standpoint, wouldn't this be more elegant?" Slowly, the wedding became less about what Marcus and I wanted, and more about what Patricia envisioned. But she did it so nicely, so reasonably, that I felt ungrateful for resisting. Marcus would tell me not to stress about it. "Mum just wants everything to be perfect. She means well." The wedding was beautiful. On paper. Patricia's taste was impeccable, but looking at the photos later, I could barely recognize it as mine. Still, I was married to Marcus, and that's what mattered. We bought a small house 30 minutes from his parents. Close enough for regular visits. Far enough to feel independent. I continued working at the clinic. Marcus thrived in his career. We were building a life together. Sunday dinners at Patricia and Robert's house became our routine. Patricia was an excellent cook and gracious hostess. She'd ask about our week, share family news, make us feel included in the family fabric. Those early months felt stable, normal, safe. I didn't realize I was being slowly positioned for something else entirely. The first warning sign came about 6 months into our marriage. Patricia started making comments about my appearance. Nothing overtly cruel, just observations that somehow always made me feel lacking. "You look tired, dear. Are you taking care of yourself? That colour is interesting. Not what I would have chosen, but you wear it well. Have you thought about growing your hair out? Marcus always loved when Amy wore her hair long." I started second-guessing my clothes, my makeup, my hair. Nothing felt good enough. She also began inserting herself into our lives in subtle ways. She'd drop by our house unannounced. I was in the neighborhood and thought I'd bring you this casserole. She'd text Marcus directly about things that concerned both of us. Tell Eve I found a wonderful recipe for that dish she tried to make last week. I'll send her the proper version. The proper version. Like mine had been improper, wrong. When I mentioned to Marcus that his mother's visits felt intrusive, he looked confused. She's just being helpful. My mum's always been involved. That's how she shows love. But she doesn't call first. Would you prefer she not visit at all? The way he said it made me feel like I was being unreasonable, cold, unwelcoming to his mother. Patricia also started making comments about my job. Still working at the clinic? That must be exhausting, dealing with animals all day. I love my job. Of course, dear. It's just, well, it's not exactly a career, is it? More of a stepping stone to something else. I had a degree in veterinary technology. I made decent money. I was working toward becoming a certified veterinary nurse. But Patricia made it sound like I was killing time until I found something real. Around this time, she started talking about grandchildren, constantly. When are you two going to give me grandbabies? I'm not getting any younger. We're not ready yet, I'd say. Not ready? You've been married 6 months. What are you waiting for? We want to be financially stable first. Marcus has a good job. You could always stop working once you have children. The assumption that I'd quit my job, that my career didn't matter, that my purpose was to produce grandchildren for her, it made my skin crawl. But Marcus would just laugh it off. Mum, give us time. I'm just excited. Is that so wrong? No, it wasn't wrong to be excited, but it felt like pressure, like my worth was contingent on my reproductive plans. I also started noticing that Patricia compared me to other women, always subtly, always with a smile. Her Amy's friend Sarah just got promoted to senior manager, such an accomplished woman. Robert's colleague's daughter just finished her master's degree, only 26, so impressive. My friend Catherine's daughter-in-law is a lawyer, they're so proud. The implication was clear. I wasn't impressive, I wasn't accomplished, I was just there. When I tried to talk to Marcus about how his mother's comments made me feel, he'd sigh. You're reading too much into things. Mum compliments everyone. She's just making conversation. But it didn't feel like conversation. It felt like evaluation. Judgment. And I was coming up short. Things escalated dramatically after I lost my job. The clinic where I'd worked for 5 years was bought by a corporate chain. They restructured, brought in their own management and let half the staff go, including me. I was devastated. I loved that job, loved my colleagues, loved the animals I cared for daily. Marcus was supportive. You'll find something better. This might be a blessing in disguise. I started applying for positions immediately, but the job market was tight and veterinary tech positions in San Diego were competitive. Patricia's response was different. Well, maybe this is a sign, she said when I told her over Sunday dinner. A sign of what? That it's time to focus on other priorities, like starting a family. I need to work, Patricia. We have a mortgage. Marcus makes enough to support both of you. Plenty of women take time off before having children. It's actually ideal. I want to work. Want and need are different things, dear. She patted my hand. Sometimes life pushes us toward our real purpose. My real purpose. As if my career, my education, my professional goals were somehow secondary to producing her grandchildren. Over the next few weeks as I job hunted, Patricia's comments became more pointed. Any interviews yet? Maybe you're being too picky. Have you thought about volunteer work? Just to stay busy while you're between things. Marcus works such long hours. It would be nice if someone was home to take care of the house properly. That last comment came after she'd dropped by unannounced and found dishes in the sink. I've been applying for jobs all day, I said defensively. Of course, dear. I'm not criticizing, just observing. But it was criticism, constant, quiet criticism that made me feel like I was failing at everything. Marcus was working more, dealing with a difficult project. He'd come home exhausted and just wanted to decompress. When I'd try to talk to him about his mother's behaviour, he'd say, "Can we not do this right now? I'm too tired." I started feeling isolated. My work friends had scattered after the layoffs. My family lived in Oregon, too far for regular visits. My world had shrunk to job applications and Patricia's judgment. Then I got a job offer. Not in veterinary care, those positions were still scarce, but as a receptionist at a dental office. It wasn't what I wanted, but it was income. "I'm taking it," I told Marcus, "at least until something in my field opens up. Whatever you think is best." When I told Patricia, her response was chilling. "A receptionist? Eve, that's quite a step down from what you were doing. It's temporary." "Is it?" "Sometimes temporary becomes permanent when we settle for less than we deserve." The way she said, "we deserve," felt loaded. Like I was the one settling, dragging Marcus down with me. She also started having private conversations with Marcus. I'd walk into rooms and they'd stop talking. He'd hang up phone calls when I entered. "What was that about?" I'd ask. "Just Mom talking about Dad's birthday plans." But his expression said otherwise. I started feeling paranoid, like they were discussing me, judging me, making decisions about my life without my input. The core betrayal happened on a Tuesday afternoon when I was 8 weeks pregnant. I'd found out 3 days earlier. Marcus and I had been trying for 2 months after he'd convinced me it was time. "We're stable now," he'd said. "You have a job, I have a job. My parents will help if we need it. Let's start our family." I'd been hesitant, but his excitement was contagious. And part of me hoped that a baby would make Patricia finally accept me. I was wrong. I'd gone to the doctor for my first appointment. Marcus couldn't come. He had an important meeting. "Text me the moment you know anything," he'd said. The appointment confirmed it. Healthy pregnancy, everything looking good. I left the doctor's office glowing, stopped at a drugstore to buy a card to surprise Marcus with when he got home. I was in the bathroom at home taking another test. The official confirmation felt important when I heard voices. Marcus's voice and Patricia's. She'd let herself in. Again. Using the key we'd given her for emergencies. I was about to call out that I was home when I heard my name. "I'm worried about you." Marcus?" Patricia's voice carried through the thin bathroom door. "Mom, I'm fine." "Are you?" "Because from where I stand, you've changed since you married her." My breath caught. "That's not fair." "Isn't it? You used to be ambitious, driven. Now you're settling for this life, this house, this ordinary existence. I'm happy." "Are you? Or have you just convinced yourself that this is enough?" Silence. "She's not who I hoped you'd marry," Patricia continued. "I tried to like her, Marcus, I really did. But she's small-minded, limited. You could have had someone extraordinary. Mom. And now she's trapping you with a baby." My blood went cold. "She's not trapping me, we're trying." "Did she tell you that? Or did she just conveniently get pregnant right when she needed to secure her position in this family? That's a terrible thing to say. Is it? Think about it. She lost her job. She took a lesser position. She knows she's not contributing equally to this marriage. A baby solves all that, doesn't it? Gives her a permanent role. Makes you responsible for her forever." I put my hand over my mouth to keep from making a sound. "I don't believe that," Marcus said, but his voice wavered. "You don't want to believe it, but deep down you know I'm right. Marrying her was a mistake, and the sooner you admit that—" "Stop." Marcus's voice was firmer now. "Just stop. I'm your mother. I'm trying to protect you. From what? From being happy? From being trapped in a life beneath you?" I heard footsteps, the front door opening. "Oh, I think you should leave, Mom." "Marcus, please, just go." I stood in that bathroom, positive pregnancy test in my hand, listening to my mother-in-law's car pull away. Marcus called out, "Eve, are you home?" I couldn't respond. My voice was gone. My body was frozen. I looked at myself in the mirror, at my red eyes, my shaking hands, my stunned expression. Patricia thought I'd trapped her son, thought our marriage was a mistake, thought I was beneath him. And Marcus had defended me, but he'd hesitated. In that pause before he spoke, I'd heard doubt. That was the moment I stopped waiting for them to change. I came out of the bathroom composed. "I'm here. Sorry, I was in the shower." Marcus smiled, relieved. "Mom just stopped by." "I heard." His smile faltered. "You heard? Everything." The silence stretched between us. Do you think I trapped you?" "No, of course not. Do you think marrying me was a mistake? How can you even ask that?" "Because your mother just said it was and you hesitated before you defended me." I was shocked. "Were you? Or were you considering whether she might be right?" He ran his hands through his hair. "This is insane. You're putting words in my mouth." "I'm pregnant." The words stopped him cold. "What?" 8 weeks. I found out today. I was going to surprise you, but then I heard your mother tell you I was trapping you, so…" I shrugged. Marcus looked stricken. "Eve, I'm happy. I'm thrilled. This is what we wanted. Is it? Or is it what you convinced yourself you wanted because you felt obligated?" "Don't do this." "Don't do what?" "Ask if my husband actually wants this baby. Ask if he sees me as an equal or as a mistake he's stuck with." "You're being irrational." "I'm being realistic. Your mother has made it clear from day one that I'm not good enough for you, and you've never once truly stood up to her." "I told her to leave." "After she called our marriage a mistake, after she accused me of trapping you." My voice broke. I was crying now, angry tears streaming down my face. "You should have shut that down immediately. You should have told her that what we have is real, that I'm your wife, that she doesn't get to talk about me that way. But instead, you hesitated. And that hesitation tells me everything I need to know." I moved into our guest room that night. Marcus tried to talk to me, but I couldn't. Every time I looked at him, I heard his silence when his mother called me a mistake. I spent 3 days in that room, calling in sick to the dental office, barely eating, replaying everything in my mind, every comment Patricia had made, every comparison, every subtle dig, every invasion of our space and privacy. She'd been trying to break me from the beginning, trying to make me feel small enough that I'd either leave Marcus or become so diminished that I'd just accept whatever role she assigned me. And Marcus had let her. Not actively, maybe, but through passivity, through dismissing my concerns, through expecting me to just tolerate his mother's behavior because that's how she is. On the 4th day, I made a decision. I wasn't leaving Marcus. Not yet. Not until I understood exactly what I was dealing with. But I wasn't going to be passive anymore. I called a lawyer. Not for divorce, not yet, but to understand my rights. Or what would happen to the house, to my future, to the baby, if this marriage ended. I also started documenting everything. I bought a small recorder and started keeping it with me during family interactions. I saved every text message, every email, every voicemail from Patricia. I created a file of evidence showing the pattern of behavior, the invasions of privacy, the controlling comments, the manipulation. And I waited. Patricia called a week later, sweet as sugar. "Eve, darling, I heard you haven't been feeling well. I'd love to bring you some soup." "I'm fine, thank you." "Marcus mentioned you two have been distant. I hope everything's okay." So, Marcus had been talking to her. Of course he had. "Everything's fine." "Well, if you need anything, I'm here. You know I think of you as a daughter." The lie was so smooth, so practiced. Oh, I almost admired it. "Actually, Patricia, there is something." "Of course, anything." "I'd like you to return the key to our house." Silence. "I'm sorry?" "The emergency key. We'd like it back." "But what if there's an emergency?" "We'll handle it ourselves. We're adults. We don't need someone letting themselves into our home whenever they choose." "I've never abused that privilege. You've used it to enter our home without permission multiple times. That's not a privilege. That's a violation of our privacy." Her voice changed, became cooler. "Has Marcus agreed to this?" This is my home too. I don't need his permission to establish boundaries. I see. Well, I'll discuss this with my son. You can discuss it all you want, but the lock is being changed tomorrow. Your old key won't work anyway. I hung up. My hands were shaking, but I felt powerful. For the first time in over a year, I'd set a boundary, and it felt incredible. Marcus came home that evening, angry. My mother called me crying. What did you say to her? I asked for our house key back. Why? Because she lets herself in without permission, because she has no respect for our privacy, because I'm tired of her treating our home like it's hers. She's my mother. And this is our house. Emphasis on our. She doesn't get unlimited access just because she gave birth to you. You're being unreasonable. Am I? Or am I finally being reasonable after months of being treated like an intruder in my own life? We fought for hours. It was the worst fight we'd ever had. But I didn't back down. And the next day, I changed the locks. The payoff came at Patricia's annual Christmas party. Ukin, she hosted it every year. A massive event with 50+ guests, catered food, live music. It was her pride and joy, her chance to showcase her perfect family and perfect life. This year, she was especially excited because it would be my first Christmas party while pregnant. Everyone will want to celebrate the baby, she'd told Marcus. I almost didn't go, but something told me this was an opportunity. I arrived with Marcus, wearing a maternity dress I loved. Patricia's smile when she saw me was tight. Eve, you came. How lovely. The party was everything I'd expected. Patricia holding court, accepting congratulations, basking in admiration. When people asked about the baby, she'd respond with, "Yes, we're all so excited. Our first grandchild. Like she'd had anything to do with it." Midway through the evening, Patricia gathered everyone for her traditional toast. "I want to thank you all for coming," she began. "Family and friends mean everything to me, and this year has been especially blessed. My son Marcus and his wife Eve are expecting our first grandchild." Applause, smiles. "Becoming a grandmother is a dream come true," she continued. Though I must admit, I had very specific hopes for who Marcus would marry. Someone with ambition, education, career prospects. Someone who could match his potential. The room went quiet. People looked uncomfortable. But life doesn't always give us what we hope for, does it? Sometimes we have to accept what we get and make the best of it. I stood up. Every eye turned to me. "Patricia, can I say something?" She looked startled but smiled graciously. "Of course, dear." I walked to where she stood and took the microphone from her hand. "I want to thank Patricia for her honesty just now. It's rare for someone to be so open about their disappointment." Nervous laughter. "For the past year and a half, Patricia has made her feelings about me very clear. Not openly, that would be too direct. But through countless small comments, criticisms disguised as concern, comparisons designed to make me feel inferior, invasions of privacy masked as helpfulness." Patricia's face was going red. "Eve, this isn't the time." "Actually, it's the perfect time, because you've spent this entire party telling people how excited you are about this baby. But what you told Marcus 2 weeks ago was that I trapped him. That marrying me was a mistake, that I'm beneath him." Gasps. People pulling out phones. "I have a recording of that conversation," I said calmly. "Hi, would everyone like to hear it?" "You wouldn't dare," Patricia started. I pulled out my phone and played it. Patricia's voice filled the room. Marrying her was a mistake, and the sooner you admit that. I stopped the recording. "I have months of documentation. Texts, emails, voice memos, a clear pattern of emotional manipulation and abuse, all done with a smile and the excuse of just caring about family." The room was silent. "You tried to break me, Patricia. You wanted me to feel small enough to either leave or just accept being treated like I didn't matter. You failed." I looked at Marcus, who stood frozen near the door. I'm leaving now. If you want to come with me, you're welcome to. If you want to stay with your mother and keep pretending her behavior is acceptable, that's your choice. But I'm done accepting less than I deserve. I walked out of that house with every person watching. Marcus followed me 30 seconds later. We drove home in silence. Inside our house, he finally spoke. I'm sorry. For what specifically? For not seeing what she was doing? For not protecting you? For making you feel like your concerns didn't matter? I sat down, exhausted. I need you to make a choice, Marcus. Me or her. And I need you to really think about it, because if you choose her, I'm leaving. I'll raise this baby alone before I spend one more day being treated like I'm not good enough. I choose you. I've always chosen you. I didn't want to see what she was doing because it meant admitting my mother is cruel. She is, and you need to accept that. I do. I accept it. And I'm done making excuses for her. The consequences unfolded over the following weeks. Patricia called Marcus crying, demanding an apology, insisting I'd humiliated her. You humiliated yourself, Marcus told her. Eve just made sure everyone knew the truth. Patricia tried to turn the family against me, but the recording had spread. People had heard her own words. There was no denying what she'd said. Robert called to apologize. I didn't realize how she'd been treating you. I'm sorry I didn't see it. Amy reached out to offer support. I always thought Mum was hard on you, but I didn't realize how bad it was. I should have said something. Patricia went silent for weeks. No calls, no texts, no drop-bys. It was the most peaceful month of my marriage. When she finally did reach out, it was through a letter. I'm sorry for any pain I caused. I hope we can move forward as a family. No acknowledgement of what she'd actually done, no real accountability, just a vague apology designed to make her look gracious. Marcus showed me the letter. What do you think? I think she's sorry she got caught, not sorry for her behavior. Agreed. We sent a response together. If you want a relationship with us and our child, you need to attend family therapy. We need real change, not just words. She refused. I won't be blamed for trying to protect my son, she wrote back. Then I guess we're done, Marcus said. And we were. 2 years later, I'm 32 with a toddler daughter and a marriage that's stronger than I ever imagined. Marcus and I went to couples therapy after the Christmas party incident. We worked through the patterns that had let Patricia's behavior continue. We learned to communicate better, to set boundaries together, to be a united front. I found a job at a veterinary clinic again, part-time while our daughter is young, but doing work I love. Patricia has never met her granddaughter. She sends birthday cards and Christmas gifts, but we return them unopened. Some people say we're too harsh, that we should forgive. But forgiveness doesn't mean accepting continued abuse. It doesn't mean giving someone unlimited chances to hurt you. Patricia tried to break me. She tried to make me feel worthless, trapped, inferior. She tried to destroy my marriage from the inside. She failed. Because I refused to be broken. I documented the truth. I stood up for myself. And I demanded better. Not through violence or cruelty, just through honesty and boundaries. And in the end, the truth was enough. If you were in my place, what would you have done differently? And don't forget to tell me, where are you listening from right now? This is Revenge by Eve, and your voice matters here.
Thanks for watching Revenge by Eve. We hoped you enjoyed the story. See you soon.